You have reached the Social Security Administration. How may I help you?
You left me a message.
Sorry?
You left me a message.
Okay, I need to have a look for that, sir. Please help me out with your name. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, Mannix here.
Joe Mannix.
I'm sorry, Joe. What's your last name?
Joe Mannix, private detective.
Mannix.
How do you spell that?
Mannix.
Mannix. Okay. And Joe, just to confirm that I'm speaking to the right person, please go ahead and verify your Social Security number.
What is this about?
Now, sir, let me introduce myself. My name is Harry Charlton, and I work with the Social Security Administration's investigating department.
But of course you are.
Now, as I was not the one who called you, right, so I'm not your case person or the case agent. So, like, if I have to pull up the information, so I would require your name and your Social Security number, because it will be some confidential information that we have to provide it to you.
What is your name? Again?
Sorry?
What is your name?
Harry Charlton.
Spell your last name.
Charlton.
Okay. And
And you can have my agent ID.
okay.
It's 124-6628.
Okay. And you're calling from Washington, D.C.?
Sorry?
Where are you calling from?
Dallas, Texas, sir. We are based out in Dallas, Texas. We are the investigating department.
Shouldn't you be in Washington?
So we are the investigating department. In Washington, we have the headquarters of Social Security Administration. But the investigating department is in Texas, in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. What's the address there?
I'm sorry, you want the address here?
Yes.
It's 2530 South Malcolm X Boulevard in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. So, what is this call about?
So I told you I do not know that because I was not the one. I am not your case of person or the case agent. So that's the reason, Mr. Mannix. I have to have your Social Security number so that I can enter that in the system, and I can pull up your information and I can tell you that who called you and what was the reason for that call.
Okay. Alrighty. Can I give you the
Sorry?
Can I give you the last 4 digits of my number?
But from the last 4 digits, I would not be able to pull up your information. I'm sorry for that. Because I do not know, right, Mr. Mannix? Right now, I'm just talking to Joe Mannix. That's it. I do not know anything. Like, what is the call for? What was it about? Why or who called you? And why was the reason? Like, what was the reason behind that call? So for the whole situation, for the whole scenario, I need to have your full Social Security number so that I can pull up your each and every information and I can tell you that what's the reason behind this call.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's 1973.
That I welcome this kind of examination. Well, I'm not a crook.
That's your part. Well, I don't know if all that's true. 'Cause you got me, baby, 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 I got you. Sing it with me. Baby, I got you, baby. I got you, baby.
And now, here's Johnny!
You are maybe the coolest person I know. I've been around you.
Me? You're putting me on.
No, really.
Cool.
No, I've told you this, I think, once that time I came...
I am so nervous.
No, you're not.
Yes, I
1973.
Yes.
And so can I just know where was the social security number issued? In which state?
Transylvania.
Alright, so thank you so much for this information. The information that you provided matches in the system.
I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania.
Now, Mr. Mannix, the reason for the call that you received from Jack Peterson was to inform you that there is a case filed under your social security number. Now, it has been filed by the DEA and the U.S. Treasury Department. Now, do you know anything about this case or about this scenario? Because there are charges of drug trafficking and money laundering against your social security number.
Tell me what money laundering is.
Okay. Money laundering means, sir, that by hiding the money from government, right, you are transferring this money to any other country. That means without paying the taxes or without showing it to the government, you are secretly transferring money, you are laundering money from United States to any other country.
Okay. All I did was I laundered $500 million in drug money, okay?
$500 million?
And you're accusing me of this?
It's not me who is accusing you, sir. It's the DEA and the U.S. Treasury Department.
So, shouldn't they have contacted me?
No, sir, they would not be contacting you because they have forwarded this case information to the Social Security office. And from now, we have to file the case onto your social. That means we'll send this whole information to the courthouse officials, and then you will receive the court summons in the subpoenas. And till that time, you'll be arranging a lawyer for yourself also.
This is the guy you want. This is the guy I'd hire.
Oh, it's the guy you'd hire.
Look, you remember Emilio? Okay, this dude got Emilio off like twice. Okay, both times they had him dead to rights, yo, and then poof. Dude's like Houdini. Seriously, when the going gets tough, you don't want a criminal lawyer, all right? You want a criminal lawyer. Know what I'm saying?
So that once the trials will be started, and yes, before the trial, says this is the matter for drug trafficking, you'll have to stay in jail for 10 days at least. And after that, you will be able to hire a lawyer for yourself, sir.
You have to be either an obsessive crackpot who's escaped from his keeper or a Samuel T. Cogley attorney at law.
You're right on both counts. Need a lawyer?
I'm afraid so.
So, I'm guilty until proven innocent?
Yes, sir, because of the drug trafficking case, yes. Because if you don't know what happened onto your social security number. There was house rented, right? There were vehicles rented under your social. There were many such things that have been rented under your social security number that was used for drug trafficking. That means to traffic drugs.
Damn. Crap.
And how do you know this?
Well, how did they establish that, sir?
So I'm seeing the affidavit right in front of me.
Oh,
Once I
okay.
put the information, you can see the affidavit.
Can you read it to me?
Sure, definitely I can do that, sir. Well, let me just go ahead and give out the affidavit information to you, sir. But before I proceed, I would just like to notify you that the lines on which we are talking are federally recorded and monitored by the DEA, the Treasury Department, and by the U.S. Marshals. So I will request you to let me complete my whole part first, and I will give you a fair chance to question once I'm done. Is that okay with you?
Is this a secure line?
I'm sorry?
Is this a secure line?
Oh, yes, sir. It's a secure line. It has been monitored and recorded by the DEA, Treasury, U.S. Treasury Department, and the U.S. Marshals.
Isn't this top security? Yeah. Well, shouldn't we activate the cone of silence?
The cone of silence?
Yes.
All right, Max. Hodgkins,
Yes, sir.
activate the cone of silence.
The cone of silence?
First of all, how much...
You're using the latest encryption and flux capacitor technology?
If we could somehow harness this lightning, channel it into the flux capacitor, it just might work. Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
So we are using the encryption technology, right? But I'm not into a technological freak here, so I do not know that, but to be honest, but it's a secure line, and no one can trace this line, no one can, hear this line up.
Okay. Go ahead.
Alright, now the DEA, after a tip-off, has raided a house that was in the state of Texas last week. Now, when they raided the house, they found out that the house was used for drug trafficking in the United States, and they collected all the evidence and documents from the crime site. Now, when they investigated further, it came to light that the house was rented under your social security number from last month. Further, the documents which they collected had a bank statement from different banks under your social in which several big transactions were made in cash and wired outside the United States.
There is more money here than we could spend in 10 lifetimes. I certainly can't launder it.
So, the DEA has strong evidence that the socials, which is associated with you, was used in this drug trafficking activity. So, they handed over the investigating reports to the Treasury Department and the Social Security Administrator. So now, the Inspector General of Social Security Administration, along with the Department of Treasury, has came to a conclusion that your social should be temporarily blocked till further notices, as this will be a drug trafficking and money laundering case. Now also, the IRS carried out an audit onto the paperwork which were recovered, and they found a tax liability of $85,000 on the transactions.
Say, that's a lot of money.
Which are under your name and your social. So, they have forwarded this case to the Treasury Department, and currently all the agencies are monitoring this call, your family members' movement.
Anyway, that's what I always think.
How's he doing up there?
I always think how when they had the newspapers right.
Well, we're getting better than 40%. About the second position. It's not so good.
And also the bank accounts are under scanner. So, the Treasury Department is pressing 4 allegations against your name. Those are count 1, violation of Controlled Drugs and Substance Act, count 2, violation of Proceeds of Money Laundering Act, count 3, violation of federal tax regulation, and count 4, willful misrepresentation of information to a government organization. So, the Treasury Department has decided to temporarily block your social security number, as also we wanted to hear your side of the story too. But after that, if at all you are found guilty, then following steps will be taken by the Treasury Department, in which you'll have to face an imprisonment of 7 years with a fine of $200,000.
I'd like to speak to my lawyer, please.
The department may also mark a lien on your assets, including your house and car if you own any. All of your known bank accounts will be frozen and confiscated, which means that you would not be able to access your account till the time it is frozen. The credit reporting agencies will also be notified about your money laundering case. All your wages and benefits would be frozen by informing your employer or the government bodies. And the last thing, Social Security will get a non-bailable arrest warrant issued against your Social Security number for the next 7 years. That means if you are found guilty for the next 7 years, you have to spend in jail at least. Now, also, if you have any prior convictions like drug trafficking, grand theft, worthless checks, or money laundering, just please be aware that they will handle your case as that of an habitual offender, as United States has zero tolerance for drug traffickers and money launderers. So now, before proceeding further with any of these further steps, you say you have any questions in your mind that you would like to ask me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
I've got questions.
Go
So,
ahead, sir.
how can you prove any of this?
So we can prove it by having the informations because, as I just told you, each and everything was rented under your name. There was many bank accounts that were opened, that are still open under your name. Now there are financial institutions like Bank of America, Wood Forest, Chase. Now in these branches, in these banks, all right, you have a total of 8 bank accounts, from which 2 are business accounts. And from that business accounts, there have been transactions done for more than $1.5 million. So in this way, the DEA and the Treasury Department has their proofs with them, so that they can show it inside the courthouse.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Okay. So, when am I going to see all this proof? In court?
By tomorrow itself, so you will receive a court summon in the subpoenas, and the proofs and each and everything, sir, you will be knowing only and only when you will be inside the courthouse.
What are you talking about?
That means in front of the judge.
Okay, so
Because no
what
one will share
happens?
their proofs with you, sir.
What happens tomorrow? You said tomorrow?
Tomorrow, one of the Social Security officer, one of the nearby Social Security office will be coming down to your doorstep with one of the police department, or one of the police official. Now, they will provide you with the summons and the subpoenas that you require, and with the arrest warrant also, and with the affidavit. So you can read the affidavit out. You can, till that time, you can arrange a lawyer for yourself, and your lawyer will let you know about the whole case and about the whole scenario.
So what is this about an arrest warrant?
Yep. As I told you, sir, this is a drug trafficking case, so you have to at least stay in jail for 10 days. These are the rules.
What federal rules?
These are the rules that has been given to us by the Constitution, sir.
You asked the question, sir. Let me answer it. The genius of the Constitution is that it can always be changed. The genius of the Constitution is that it makes no permanent rule other than its faith in the wisdom of ordinary people to govern themselves.
Faith in the wisdom of the people is exactly what makes the Constitution incomplete and crude.
Crude? No, sir. Our founding parents were pompous, middle-aged white farmers, but they were also great men, because they knew one thing that all great men should know, that they didn't know everything. They knew they were going to make mistakes, but they made sure to leave a way to correct them. They didn't think of themselves as leaders. They wanted a government of citizens, not royalty. A government of listeners, not lecturers.
The Constitution?
If a person is also accused for, the law is according that if the person is accused of doing drug trafficking, then without finding guilty or not, that person has to stay in jail for 10 days.
That's in the Constitution?
Fill this room with your intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You learn something new every day.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I'll have my lawyer here ready to meet meet your officers.
That's
You
okay, sir. That's not an issue. You can, that will be perfectly fine. You can arrange a lawyer for yourself. So, Mr. Mannix, do you have any further questions that you would like to ask me before I proceed further and provide this information to the courthouse officials?
Do you know my address? Do you know my address?
Oh, yes, sir. The addresses, we have it, definitely.
And
Like, we'll
what
collaborate
is
with the nearby security office, and they will be knowing about it.
so? What is my address? Too much. Okay, that was fun.